Myself, Rohit Kulkarni. Open your Science 1 textbook. Lesson number 5, heat. We are going to continue. So you can open your page number 67. But before moving on the next point, that is unit of heat, just I want to revise some of the points what we have seen in the last two lectures. Right? Now today we are going to study about unit of heat to understand the concept of specific heat capacity, to understand the principle of heat exchange, and to study the measurement of specific heat. So these are the points we are going to see in today's session. Now see, till now what are the points we have seen? Right? We have seen first latent heat, then we have seen regulation, anomalous behavior of water, dew point, humidity, relative humidity, and we have carried out some of the activities to understand these points. Now, along with that, we have seen some of the definitions. The first definition is about melting point. So just we'll revise some of the points and then we'll move on the today's point. Now see what is melting point. The temperature at which a solid substance melts and changes into a liquid at atmospheric pressure is called melting point. Right? So the temperature at which a solid substance melts and changes into a liquid at atmospheric pressure. Then second definition we have seen about boiling point. The temperature at which a liquid boils and changes rapidly into a gas at atmospheric pressure is called boiling point. Then we have seen about latent heat of fusion. The amount of heat energy absorbed at constant temperature by unit mass of a solid to convert into liquid phase is called specific latent heat of fusion. Right? So once again, I will repeat, the amount of heat energy absorbed at constant temperature by unit mass of a solid to convert into liquid phase is called the specific latent heat of fusion. Then we have seen the definition of latent heat of vaporization. Now just you can see the difference between the two definitions, which is shown with the red color. So the amount of heat energy absorbed at constant temperature by unit mass of a liquid to convert into gaseous phase is called the specific latent heat of vaporization. So after looking at the two definitions, you should understand the difference between latent heat of fusion and latent heat of vaporization. In fusion, solid is converted into liquid phase, and in vaporization, liquid is converted into gaseous phase. Then we have seen about humidity. So the presence of water vapor in the air makes it moist, and this moisture in the atmosphere is called humidity. And then the dew point is the temperature at which the air is saturated. So these are the things we have seen in the last session. Along with we have seen the difference between absolute humidity and relative humidity. So what is the absolute humidity? The actual amount of moisture in the air for given volume of air is called as absolute humidity. And what is relative humidity? The ratio of actual mass of vapor in the air for a given volume and temperature to that required to make the air saturated with water vapor at that temperature. Then second point, in absolute humidity, temperature is not considered. In relative humidity, the temperature is considered. Then in absolute humidity, it is expressed in kilogram per cubic meter, and relative humidity is expressed in percentage. So these are the points we have seen in yesterday's session. So differentiate between absolute humidity and relative humidity, then we have seen the formula. Now today we are going to see the point which is on page number 67, that is unit of heat. Now see, the unit of heat are joule in SI system and calorie in CGS system, right? So it is written there. So what is the unit of heat? So by heart that in SI unit, it is joule, which is denoted by J, and in CGS system, it is calorie, which is denoted by Cal. The amount of heat necessary to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius from 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius is called 1 calorie heat, right? So 1 calorie is equals to 4.18 joule. So this is the conversion. 1 calorie is equals to 4.18 joule. So here you can see the two definitions. First one is for 1 calorie heat and second one is for 1 kilocalorie heat. So the difference is noted with the red ink, right? So 1 calorie heat means what? The amount of heat necessary to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius from 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius is called 1 calorie heat. And the second definition is for 1 kilocalorie heat. The amount of heat necessary to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of water by 1 degree Celsius from 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius is called 1 kilocalorie heat, right? So learn these two definitions and you should understand the difference between 1 calorie heat and 1 kilocalorie heat definition. Then it is clear that 1 kilocalorie is equals to 1000 calorie, right? So 1 kilocalorie is equals to how much it is? 1000 calories. So that is the conversion. Right now, so this is about heat. So remember the unit of heat is joule in SI system and calorie in CJ system, and definition for 1 calorie heat and the definition for 1 kilocalorie heat. The conversion is 1 calorie is equals to 4.18 joule and 1 kilocalorie is equals to 1000 calorie, right? Now next point we are going to see about specific heat capacity. Now to understand that activity, to understand this point, we are going to see one activity which is given on page number 68. Now see what are the materials required to perform this activity. A tray with thick layer of wax, solid sphere of iron, lead and copper of equal mass, burner or spirit lamp and large beaker. So these are the things required. A tray with thick layer of wax, solid sphere of iron, lead and copper of equal mass, burner or spirit lamp, large beaker, etc. Now see what is the procedure for that. Take 3 spheres of iron, copper and lead of equal mass. So here we are going to take 3 spheres, right? So you can see in the slide the for iron, copper and lead, which is of equal mass. Suppose it will be of 100 kg or 100 gram. Put all the 3 spheres in boiling water in the beaker for some time. So all the 3 spheres means of iron, copper and lead, we are going to boil it in the beaker for some time. Take the 3 spheres out of the water. All the spheres will be at temperature 100 degrees Celsius. So at till we are going to boil it till all the spheres will be at temperature 100 degree Celsius. So we are going to remove all the 3 spheres from the boiling water and put them in immediately on the thick slab of wax. And immediately what we are going to do, we are going to keep all the 3 spheres, that is iron, copper and lead on the thick slab of wax. Then we are going to note the depth that each of the sphere goes into the wax, right? So you can see in the slide the depth, how much depth all the 3 spheres had gone. Now after doing this activity, what we can observe. Now see here, the sphere which absorbs more heat from the water will give more heat to wax, right? So the sphere which absorbs more heat from the water will give more heat to the wax. More wax will thus melt and the sphere will go deeper in the wax. So more wax will melt and the sphere will go deeper in the wax. It can be observed that the iron sphere goes deepest into the wax. Now you can see in the slide on the left hand side, the iron sphere, it goes deepest, means it goes very deepest into the wax, and the lead lead sphere goes the least, and on the right hand side the lead sphere it goes very least, and the copper sphere goes to the intermediate depth. So this is the observation done seen after doing the activity. So what is observed, that the iron sphere goes deepest into the wax, the lead sphere goes the least, and the copper sphere goes to the intermediate depth. This shows that for equal rise in temperature, the three spheres have absorbed different amount of heat, right? So we have seen initial temperature, we have boiled it up to 100 degrees Celsius, but after keeping on the glass slab, what we have seen, this shows that for equal rise in temperature, the three spheres have absorbed different amount of heat. So the spheres, which is made up of iron, copper, and lead, they have absorbed the different amount of heat. So this we have understood from the activity, this activity, that iron goes deepest, lead goes deep, and the copper goes to the intermediate depth. This means that the property which determines the amount of heat absorbed by a sphere is different for the three sphere. So from this activity, what is that? The property which determines the amount of heat absorbed by the sphere is different for the three spheres, and this property is called as what? It is called as specific heat capacity. Now from this activity, we can define the definition. We can define specific heat of the object. So see, what is the definition? The amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of a unit mass of an object by 1 degree Celsius is called the specific heat of that object. So what is the definition for the specific heat of that object? The amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of a unit mass of an object by 1 degree Celsius is called the specific heat of that object. The specific heat capacity is denoted by the letter C. Remember that the specific, now onwards, whenever we are using the symbol C, it means it is specific heat, right? So specific heat capacity is denoted by the symbol C, letter C. The SI unit of specific heat is joule per kg degree Celsius, right? So the unit, SI unit for specific heat is joule per kilogram degree Celsius, and CGS unit is calorie per gram degree Celsius. So remember the units for both, right? Before we have seen the unit for heat, right? The unit for heat in SI system it was joule, and in CGS system it was calorie. And now we have seen unit for specific heat capacity. The SI unit for specific heat capacity is joule per kilogram degree Celsius, and the CGS unit is calorie per gram degree Celsius, right? So from this activity, we have seen that how the different objects, means for example, different objects like iron here, iron, copper, and lead can have absorb different heat. Right now on the same page, we can see some of the specific heat, right? So we'll see some of the examples. The first example is of water, right? The specific heat capacity is 1.0 calorie per gram degree Celsius. Then second one is paraffin. The specific heat capacity is 0.54 calorie per gram degree Celsius. So it is given in CGS unit, right? Then third one is kerosene. It is 0.52 calorie per gram degree Celsius. Fourth example is aluminium, 0.215 calorie per gram degree Celsius. So you have to study all this, you have to learn this, because it can be asked for the match the following, or even it can be asked for the filling the blanks. The next one is iron, 0.110 calorie per gram degree Celsius. Then copper, it is 0.095 calorie per gram degree Celsius. Silver, 0.056 calorie per gram degree Celsius. And mercury, it is 0.033 calorie per gram degree Celsius. So these are the specific heat of some of the substances. Some in here about 8 examples are given. So go through that. Now, next point. Now, whatever the 2 points we are going to see on page number 68, the last 2 points, it is very important, right? Understand the difference to definitions. Now, see what is the first one. If specific heat of an object is C, the mass of an object is m, and if the temperature of the object is raised by delta T degree Celsius, then the heat energy absorbed by the object is given by m into C into delta T. Here m stands for mass of an object, C stands for specific heat of an object, and delta T stands for temperature. Right, so this is the formula for heat energy absorbed by an object. Right, now you should understand the difference here. Two formulas are given. The first one is heat energy absorbed by the object, and the second one is given heat energy lost by the object. Now just look at the second definition. If this which is on page number 68, last point. In the same way, if specific heat of an object is C, the mass of the object is m, and if the temperature of the object is decreased by delta T degree Celsius, then the heat energy lost by the object will be m into C into delta T. Right, now, after looking at both the definitions, you should understand the difference. In the heat energy absorbed, the temperature is raised or it is increased, right? And in the second definition, where the heat energy is lost, the temperature is decreased. Right, even the formula is same, m into C into delta T, but the difference between the two definition is that in the first definition, where heat energy is absorbed, the temperature is increased, and in the second one, where the heat energy is lost, the temperature is decreased. And the formula for it is m into C into delta T, where m stands for mass of the object, C stands for specific heat of the object, and T stands for temperature, or delta T stands for the temperature. Right, so this is the definition for heat energy absorbed by the object and the heat energy lost by the object. Clear? Now we'll move on the next point, that is heat exchange, right, which is given on page number 69. Now see, the one figure is given, that is 5.10 box of heat resistant material. So if heat is exchanged between a hot and cold object, right? So if we are going to take here two objects, one is hot object and second one is cold object. Suppose the heat is exchanged between a hot object and a cold object, the temperature of the cold object goes on increasing due to gain of energy, and the temperature of the hot object goes on decreasing due to loss of energy. Right, so remember that here we are going to take two objects, one is hot object and the cold object. When the heat is exchanged between the hot object and the cold object, the temperature of the cold object goes on increasing. Right, the temperature of cold object goes on increasing due to gain in gain of energy, and the temperature of the hot object goes on decreasing due to loss of energy. The change in temperature continues till the temperature of both the object attain the same value. Means, suppose here we'll take some example. Suppose hot object also will gain near about 50 degrees Celsius temperature, and cold object will also gain 50 degrees Celsius. Means both the temperature will be same. Means the change in temperature continues till the temperature of both the objects attain the same value. In this process, the cold object gain heat energy and the hot object loses heat energy. So after doing this activity, what we can see in this process, the cold objects gain heat energy and the hot object, it loses heat energy. If the system of both the object is isolated from the environment by keeping it inside a heat resistant box, right, which is shown on the right hand side, heat resistant box, meaning that the exchange taking place between the two objects only, then no energy can flow from inside the box or come into the box. And in this situation, we will get the following principle. So what is given here? If the system of both the objects, means hot object and cold object, is isolated, means it is kept from the isolated from the environment by keeping it inside a heat resistant box, then no energy can flow from inside the box or come into the box, means the energy will not go outside and even the energy will not come inside. And in this situation we'll get the following principle. So what is the principle? Heat energy lost by the hot object is equals to heat energy gained by the cold object. So this is called as principle of heat exchange, right? So heat energy lost by the hot object is equals to heat energy gained by the cold object. So this is what this is a simple experiment given to understand about heat exchange, right? So once again we'll see that point and then we'll move on the next point. Now see what is heat exchange. If heat is exchanged between a hot and cold object, the temperature of the cold objects goes on increasing due to gain of energy, and the temperature of the hot objects goes on decreasing due to loss of energy, right? So if heat is exchanged between hot and cold object, the temperature of cold objects goes on increasing due to gain of energy, and the temperature of the hot objects goes on decreasing due to loss of energy. The change in temperature continues till the temperature of both the objects, means hot object and cold objects, attain the same value. In this process, the cold objects gain heat energy and the hot object loses heat energy. Now suppose if the system of both the objects, that is hot and cold object, is isolated from the environment by keeping it inside a heat resistant box, then no energy can flow from or inside the box or come into the box. In this situation we'll get the following principle, and that is heat energy lost by the hot object is equals to heat energy gained by the cold object, and this is called as what? It is called as principle of heat exchange, right? So hope so you understood this activity. And what is the principle of heat exchange? Heat energy lost by the hot object is equals to heat energy gained by the cold object. Clear? Now we'll move on the second point, next point, that is measurement of specific heat, right? And calorimeter, right? What is the next point? Measurement of specific heat and calorimeter. Now see, measurement of specific heat is measured by mixing method, right? So remember this, the specific heat of an object can be measured by using mixing method. And for this, calorimeter is used. So for that, what we are using? We are using the calorimeter. You have learned about calorimeter in the previous standard. If a hot solid object is put in the water in a calorimeter, heat exchange between the hot object and the water and the calorimeter starts. So here's just an example given. What if a hot solid object is put in the water in a calorimeter? What happens? The heat exchange starts between the hot object, water, and the calorimeter. This continues till the temperature of the solid object, water, and the calorimeter becomes equal. So this process means heat exchange process goes on continue till what? Till the temperature of solid object, water, and the calorimeter becomes equal. So therefore, from this activity, we can say, we can tell, so some of the formulas we can derive. So see, what is the first formula? Heat lost by the solid object, denoted by capital Q. Just see properly because you should not confuse between these formulas. Heat lost by the solid object, which is denoted by capital Q, is equals to heat gained by water in calorimeter plus heat gained by the calorimeter. So therefore, here heat lost by the solid object Q is equals to mass of a solid object multiply by, that is not that multiply by its specific heat multiply by decrease in its temperature, right? So heat lost by the solid object, which is denoted by capital Q, is equals to mass of the solid object multiplied by its specific heat and its multiplied by its temperature. That is, already we have seen the formula m into c into delta T, right? Then similarly, heat gained by the water denoted by capital Q1 is equals to mass of water multiply by its specific heat multiply by increase in its temperature, right? So maybe you understood the difference in heat loss and in heat gained by water, that is, it is increase in temperature. The next one, heat gained by the calorimeter, that is Q2, right? Heat gained by the calorimeter, that is Q2. The formula for it is mass of the calorimeter multiply by its specific heat multiply by increase in its temperature. So if it is hot object, we are going to take mass of the solid object. If it is water, we are going to take the mass of the water. And if it is calorimeter, we are going to take the mass of the calorimeter, right? So these are the three formulas, that is heat lost by solid object means Q, heat gained by the water denoted by Q1, and heat gained by the calorimeter, that is denoted by Q2. Now from this what we can say, that is heat lost by the hot object is equals to heat gained by water plus heat gained by calorimeter, means therefore Q is equals to Q1 plus Q2, right? So from this we can derive formula, that is Q is equals to Q1 plus Q2. Q stands for heat lost by hot object, Q1 stands for heat gained by water, and Q2 stands for heat gained by the calorimeter. Now, using this equation, if the specific heat of water and the calorimeter are known, the specific heat of a solid object can be calculated. So if we know any of the two values, right, from above formula, we can calculate the third value. Now here they have given the specific heat of water and the calorimeter are known, then we can calculate the specific heat of solid object, right? So this is about what measurement of specific heat. So here three formulas are given, that is heat lost by solid object, heat gained by water, and heat gained by the calorimeter, and from that we can say Q is equals to Q1 plus Q2, right? So go through that formulas. Now we'll see the example, we'll see one example. Two examples are given, but we'll see one of the example. From that means we'll understand how we can use the formula. Now see what is the first example. How much heat energy is necessary to raise the temperature of 5 kilogram of water from 20 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius, right? So what is the first question, solved example? How much heat energy is required necessary to raise the temperature of 5 kilogram of water from 20 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius? Now what is given here? M, right, that is mass 5 kilogram. C means specific heat, that is 1 kilocalorie per 1 kilocalorie per kg degree Celsius. Then change in temperature, that is delta T, 100 minus 20, that is 80 degree Celsius. Now what is the formula you are going to use? Energy to be supplied to water is equals to energy gained by the water. So energy supplied to water is equals to mass of water into specific heat of water into multiply by change in temperature of water, that is equals to M into C into delta T. M into C into delta T. So M, substitute the values, that is 5 multiplied by 1 into 80. So after multiplying you will get 400 kilocalorie. So hence the heat energy necessary to raise the temperature of water is equals to 400 kilocalorie. Right, so the heat energy necessary to raise the temperature of water is how much? It is 400 kilocalorie. So this is the one example given, right? So hope so you have understood whatever the points we have seen, right? So today we have seen our units of heat, right? So once again just we'll revise what are the unit of it. So unit of heat In SI unit is joule, and the unit of heat in CGS unit is calories. Then we have seen the definition of 1 calorie heat and 1 kilocalorie heat. 1 calorie heat means the amount of heat necessary to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius from 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius is called 1 calorie heat. Similarly, we have seen the definition for 1 kilocalorie heat. The amount of heat necessary to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of water by 1 degree Celsius from 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius is called 1 kilocalorie heat. Right, so these are some of the definitions you have to by heart. So many definitions are there in this lesson. Then we have seen 1 calorie is equals to 4.18 joule and 1 kilocalorie is equals to 1000 calorie. Right, then we have seen the definition of an activity about specific heat capacity. Right, so we have seen that activity of the spheres, that we can use different spheres of iron, copper and lead, and we can understand that which sphere absorbs the more heat even if it is heated on the same temperature. So what is the definition? The amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of unit mass of an object by 1 degree Celsius is called specific heat of that object. Right, the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of a unit mass of an object by 1 degree Celsius is called the specific heat of that object. It is denoted by small c. Then the SI unit of specific heat is joule per degree kilocalorie, sorry, joule per kilogram degree Celsius, and the CGS unit is calorie per gram degree Celsius. So don't confuse between the units, right? So SI unit is joule per kilogram degree Celsius, and CGS unit is calorie per gram degree Celsius. Right? Then we have seen some of the specific heat of some of the substances, for example, water, paraffin, kerosene, aluminum, iron, copper, silver, and mercury. So go through that examples. Then we have seen two definitions, that is heat energy absorbed by the object and heat energy lost by the object. So the definition for heat energy absorbed by the object was the specific heat of an object is C, the mass of an object is m, and if the temperature of an object is increased, remember here, increased or raised by delta T degrees Celsius, then the heat energy absorbed by the object is given by m into C into delta T. And the second formula, we have seen that if specific heat of an object is C, then the mass of an object is m, and if the temperature of an object is decreased by delta T degrees Celsius, then the heat energy lost by the object will be m into C into delta T, where m stands for mass of an object, C stands for specific, and then T stands for temperature. Then next point we have seen about heat exchange. Right, next point we have seen about heat exchange. From that activity, what we have seen, that heat energy lost by the hot object is equals to heat energy gained by the cold object, and this is called as what? It is called as principle of heat exchange. Right, so when the temperature of cold object goes on increasing, why it happens? Because due to gain energy. And when the temperature of hot objects goes on decreasing, it is due to the loss of energy. Right, so you can see that principle of heat exchange. Then next point we have seen about measurement of specific heat. Right, so what we have seen in that, the specific heat of an object can be measured using mixing method, and for this what we are using, for this calorimeter is used. So heat lost by the solid object, Q is equals to mass of the solid object multiplied by its specific heat and multiplied by decrease in its temperature. Then heat gained by the water, denoted by capital Q1, is equals to mass of water multiplied by its specific heat multiplied by increase in its temperature. Then heat gained by the calorimeter Q2 is equals to mass of the calorimeter multiplied by its specific heat multiplied by increase in its temperature. So from this we can say heat lost by the hot object is equals to heat gained by the water plus heat gained by the calorimeter. So therefore Q is equals to Q1 plus Q2. So this is the formula for heat lost by the hot object is equals to heat gained by the water plus heat gained by the calorimeter. right? The next we have seen one example, that is word problem, that how much heat energy is necessary to raise the temperature. Apart from this, in exercise also some of the examples are given, solved examples, so you can go through that, right? Right now so here we have completed our chapter. Right now, just from beginning, I will tell you what are the, in short, what are the points we have seen. We have seen about latent heat, right? Specific latent heat of fusion, latent heat of vaporization, melting point, boiling point, humidity, dew point. Then we have seen about regulation, study of anomalous behavior of water. In that we have seen Hope's apparatus, right? Then unit of heat, specific heat capacity, heat exchange. So many, the lesson is very important from the exam point of view. You can go through that. You can study all the questions, examples which is given in the exercise, right? It can 5 marks question is also there, that is Hope's apparatus. So study that properly. Now just we'll move on the revision point, right? Now the first question for you is, so those who know, they can raise your hands. So what is the melting point of solid? Hello, what is melting point of solid? Hello, those who know, they can raise your hands and they can answer the first question, that is what is melting point of solid, or you can define what is melting point. Hello ma'am.
Hello, sir.
Hello, just I'm asking some questions. Students, those who
Okay.
know, students, those who can answer the first one, the define melting point of solid, or what is the melting point of solid?
Student, please give the answer. Raise your hand.
Just see the definition. The first one, that is what is melting point of solid. Okay, see what is the definition. Just I will repeat that. The constant temperature at which the ice converts into water is called as what? It is called as melting point of solid. Then the second question is, what is dew point temperature? So that is, suppose unsaturated air at a certain temperature is taken and its temperature is decreased. A temperature is reached at which the air becomes saturated with vapor, and this temperature is called as what? It is called as dew point temperature. Then the next question is, what is formula for percentage relative humidity? So which is given on page number 66. Percentage relative humidity is equals to actual mass of water vapor content in the air in a given volume divided by mass of vapor needed to make the air saturated in that volume, multiply by 100. The next one is, defines specific heat capacity, right? So this point today only we have seen, that is what is the definition for specific heat capacity. So the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of a unit mass of an object by 1 degree Celsius is called as specific heat capacity of that object. And the next question is, match the following. So you can match that heat, right? So today only we have seen the unit for heat, The unit for heat is right. For the second one, specific heat capacity, the unit is calorie per gram degree Celsius.
Ruchika, say the answer, beta.
Those who know, they can answer the match the following. First three, one heat, specific heat capacity, and about absolute humidity.
Ruchika, unmute yourself, beta. Subhanshu,
Sir, second one.
Second, you can answer match the following. First one, heat. What is the answer for heat? Unit. Just tell me the unit. Three options are given. From that, you can tell one of the, which is the correct one.
Sir, second one.
For heat.
Heat.
The answer is calorie. The unit of heat is calorie. Right? Remember that. Then second one, specific heat capacity. Just answer the second one, specific heat capacity.
GC.
First one, calorie per
First
gram
one.
degree Celsius. Right?
Yes,
So you
yes.
should know how to you should know how to read that. So the answer for that is calorie per gram degree Celsius. The unit for specific heat capacity. And the third one is last one, that is absolute humidity. And only one option is remain, that is B1. Right? So that is kilogram per cubic meter. Right? So you should know how to read all the symbols. Right? So go through that whole lesson. So the whole lesson is very important from the exam point of view. So many definitions are there, near about 15 to 20 definitions are there in this lesson, and some of the activities which carries 3 or 5 marks questions. So go through that. Clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. I hope so all students have understood today's session.
Yes.
So thank you. Thank you, students.